Hotep, everybody. Hey, this is Michael. I'm Hotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. It is Thursday, June 24th, 2021, and I'm here with a very, very special guest once again. I'm here with Kenya K. Stevens, CEO of the Progressive Love Academy. How you doing today, Kenya?
I'm well. It's summer. Woo! We having fun.
Yep, absolutely. We know the summer solstice just happened, and you're here to talk about a very, very special training program, online course that you offer, the Diva Deep Dive Tantric Sex Education for Women, the Diva Deep Dive Tantric Sex Education for Women. I'm going to say right from the start, this is for adults only. Okay. Hide the little children. I know kids may be at home going to school or what have you. This is for adults only. Did you know that 80% of women do not orgasm during intercourse? We're going to talk about that today. So Kenya, we've had this discussion before. You teach this fantastic 6-week course. And one of the things you talk about is how orgasm is the body in a state of homeostasis. So yes. Break this down for us, demystify this for us. And some men don't understand women's body anyway, so they need help too. Well, they need help. I don't need help. I know what I'm doing. They need help. Okay. So.
Yeah, orgasm being the body in a state of homeostasis is a very important key indicator for the purpose of sex. The purpose of sex is to teach our organs to be healed, to teach our organs to know what it feels like to be in harmony. Homeostasis means all of your organs are harmonized and acting as one. You have 70 trillion cells in your body. You understand? 70 trillion. So just imagine them all working in harmony, no illness present, no matter if you feel ill outside of that orgasm or not. During the orgasm, no illness is present. No illness is detectable. So the more times that you can get into this state of homeostasis, the more your body learns what homeostasis feels like and can mimic and reproduce that feeling and heal your bodily organs. So when we talk about sex, we never get this deep in the West, do we, Michael?
No. And it's corrupted. Sex is corrupted in the West. It's corrupted by pornography. It's corrupted by false expectations, is corrupted by not understanding the human body, misconceptions about the way a woman's vagina is supposed to look, things like this. It's just it's totally screwed up over here.
Right. Okay. Right. And when we demystify it and when we go beyond the West, which is what we do at African History Network, which is what we do in realization of our history beyond the years that we've spent in the West, the 400 years or so. We've got to get beyond that and figure out who we were prior to that massive a problematic area in history. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have experienced it. This is not the right way or whatever. I'm saying we can understand who the indigenous Africans were. We can understand who the indigenous American persons were. And these are all people who respected sensuality. Sensuality was a part of spirituality. And so we've got to get that back. That's what the Diva Deep Dive teaches us to do.
Wow. So you talked about a lot here, the body being aligned, the cells being aligned, homeostasis. Orgasm is a healthy and luminous display of power, vitality, and spirituality. So in the West, when we talk about orgasm, usually, sex oftentimes can be something that's frowned upon by organized religion and things like this. When we talk about orgasm and spirituality, usually we're not talking about something that's working together. In this culture, oftentimes there's something that's opposite each other. Talk about that, spirituality and orgasms.
Sure. It's similar to the way that Western religion, all of the big three religions, think of God as something outside of us, judging us, looking down upon us as sinners, telling us judging us for our actions. In Eastern traditions, African traditions especially, God is within us. Yes. And so that's the major difference. So if we think of God as being within us, then all of our bodily functions become divine. all of our bodily desires and all of our entire experience as a physical being is a divine experience. So that's the difference between the West and how they look at religion, and the East, or Africa and Native America, and how we look at religion. You understand?
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I teach an online course, a 10-week online course called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And one of the books I use in the course is Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Tony Browder. And one of the parts of the class, I deal with the Druids in Ireland and St. Patrick. And how St. Patrick is sent into Ireland 432 AD to convert the Irish to Christianity. Eastern Orthodox Church is in existence then. And the Druids are dealing with a watered down version of teachings coming out of ancient Kemet. The teachings that they're dealing with are in conflict with the Christian church. And one of the things that Browder talks about in the book, pages 193 and 194, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, he talks about how the Druids were dealing with a concept of the creator being within, the God being within you, and you acquire knowledge to become closer to the creator and realize the real power of the creator that lies within you. And that was in opposition to the Christian church. And so we're dealing with ancient African principles. Okay, when we deal with this, and we see this throughout various African cultures, throughout various different African spiritual systems. So the whole way that we've been taught about sex basically is backwards in this Western culture. Is that correct?
Exactly. Just as you just explained, that major difference with the divine being within or the divine being without. Is the divine encapsulated within the body? Is it wearing a bio body suit so we can have an experience? Is the divine wanting to have an experience through us, through creation? And if so, which is what the Africans and Native Americans believe, if so, then we have to utilize every expression as a source and a connection back to the divine. Eating, the festivals, the feasting, the dancing, the movement, the sex, the sensuality, the way we wear our hair, the way we do our makeup and our tribal marks. Every part of us must celebrate the divine, because we are divine beings. That is where sex and spirituality meet for African people.
Wow. So one of the things you talk about is how, and we're going to give you the link here, you can register for her course. She's going to let you know when it's offered. We have a special discount for the African History Network viewers as well. So we're going to tell you about that also. One of the things you talk about here is 80% of American women, regardless of race, do not orgasm during intercourse, do not orgasm during sexual intercourse. Talk about that for a minute. Is that why so many women are angry?
Yes, and it's so unfortunate that women are called angry in a culture where they're literally undersexed. And undersexed meaning they do not visit homeostasis enough to be able to embody homeostasis. Men want us to be in homeostasis. What does that look like? Peaceful, calm, relaxed, nurturing, feminine, moist, accepting, tolerant. Well, we cannot be. That's called homeostasis. So if we are not even able to get there in the ways that the body naturally should, how are we supposed to contrive it in a heated situation, in an argument? How do we soften if we have not practiced being soft, being in the space with creator during orgasm? That is the major concern as to why women are very much, in a chaos, in a headspace of chaos. So this is a remedy. And nobody thinks of sex as a remedy, because when they think of sex, they think of porn. They think of something dirty. They think, or they think you must be married and it's about children and procreation. Those are two extremes that don't allow a middle ground where sex is about your health, your mental health.
Okay, so you're saying, sex is about mental health. So you're saying that if a woman or man is not having sex, it negatively impacts their mental health.
Oh my goodness, yes. It negatively impacts their mental health. It puts a strain on their It's inhumane for people not to get touched. You know that if a baby is not touched, the baby's gonna die. You know that the baby is not held. It's not just about the mother's milk.
Right.
Although we do need to exchange bodily fluids. But it's about the touch, the acknowledgement, the love. That is a basic human need. If that is not being satisfied, please don't expect the person to act like a human. Please don't expect the person not to be a psychopath or not to be very ill. So these are things that we have to reincorporate into our schools, into our institutions, into our networks, and into our community. If we don't, we're just going to continue along the lines of trying to build humans, but doing it in an inhumane way and making them actually anti-human. If they are not thinking that touch is normal, a desire for touch is normal, a desire for sensuality, cuddling, connection is normal, orgasm is normal, touching yourself is normal. If we don't do that again in our communities, along with the political stuff, then we are still at a state of imbalance.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So let people know, when does this course take place and how can they register for it? And we have a special discount for the African History Network also.
Yes, we do. This course is already on the books. It is not hundreds of women who were part of that 80% that do not orgasm. Now, let me just be clear. When I say 80% of women do not orgasm, I'm saying what the studies show is 80% of women are not capable of having an orgasm with a man during sex. Right. They're perfectly capable of giving themselves an orgasm.
Right.
But they're not at the level of trust and at the level of openness to be like that with a man. They care about how they look. What's their body looking like? How do they smell? Is the scent okay of their vaginal area? Are they soothable? Are they pleasable to the man? That's not even what women are supposed to be worried about.
Right.
Women are the subject of sex. Men are the object. So, in our Western culture, again, that's flipped, where men are objectifying women, catcalling women, and say, hey, come over here, acting as if they are the chooser. No, women are the chooser because you're coming into my body. So I need to choose who comes into my body. That's the first layer of trust.
And they need to be, and they need to have some discernment. They need to be choosy, right?
Well, now that's another. Now, Michael, we're gonna have to talk about that.
Well, let's be honest. So I'm not talking about like controlling women's bodies, but you want to have sex with every man. I mean, don't you? Aren't there some men you don't want to have sex with out there? Aren't there some like I hear of spirit vampires? What I mean, like people who sap your energy, people whose spirit is not right. I mean, do you want to, because sex is not just physical, it's something spiritual. So is that something that you just want to engage in anybody with?
But see, we've forgotten that the entire universe is spiritual. So how am I going to attract somebody who is not of like energy? I only attract who and what I am.
Okay. But a demon is a spirit too, right?
No, I don't have a concept of demons or entities or anything like floating around in the environment gonna get me. That is a Western concept. Okay. I know that I only attract who and what I am. That's what I attract. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that I attract what I believe is true. Okay. So yes, if I believe that these rapists and these terrible people and these demons and then yes, I will attract that. But that's still on me because I could have changed that belief long ago. Why do I believe that I'm not safe in the universe? Why do I believe that I'm not a God in the universe? Why do I believe that I'm attracting something that would harm me? If I believe that, yes, I will attract that. And that's me attracting who and what I am. That's my belief. My beliefs are what I am. So I will attract what I believe. I have a 21-year-old daughter, Michael, and I taught her that she has got to understand her authentic yes and her authentic no. Okay. Usually girls are only taught to understand their no. No. But we're not taught. What is your yes? When is it a yes? And is a yes okay? Yes, a yes is okay. As long as you're tapped into your heart chakra and you know that this is a yes, What is the problem? And then men try to interject, talking about women need to choose this. Men need to stop telling the mothers of creation what we need to be choosing. I choose where my body and where my spirit want to be, period. And I have discernment, and I have respect for my body, respect for myself, and I'm gonna have sex with who my spirit wants to have sex with. No problem.
Okay. But you said you had discernment though, right?
Yeah, but discernment doesn't mean some man's idea of who I should be sleeping with, how many I should be sleeping with. Discernment has nothing to do with a man's judgment of me. If I choose to sleep with these 4 men this week, that's none of a man's business. It's my business. And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my authentic yes, and I know my authentic no.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about 5 reasons women shut down sexually, 5 reasons women shut down sexually, talk about that for a minute.
Well, women shut down sexually, first and foremost. I think you have them probably listed on your paper, but the first one is trust. Did I have trust listed first?
Being stuck in the mind is
one. Yeah.
I mean, we're going to take them in any order. It's not a specific.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So the first and foremost, I would say, is trust. You know, in general, women don't trust men in this culture, because we've been trained not to trust men. We don't trust their intentions. Oh, they only want us for our body. Oh, they want to try to get some sex. We don't even understand that men are not getting sex. Men are giving sex. They're giving sex. They're the ones who have to get an erection. They're the ones who have to get that chi flowing and give us something. So that's all the way turned around. So, you know, we just don't trust the entire premise of sex. We think men are trying to take something from us, which is farthest from the truth. Every man I know is trying to give me pleasure. That's it. Number 2, being stuck in the mind. Sex requires that you fall out of the mind and into the heart. That's a very, women sometimes in this culture are on guard. No, what's going to happen? What you going to do to me tomorrow? Are you going to respect me? So they're having all these thoughts. Do you think I'm beautiful? Are we going to be in a relationship? Are we together? Are we going to get married? It's hard to have an orgasm with those kind of thoughts. So my course teaches the women how to get out of that mindset and get in a mindset of receiving pleasure in this moment without trying to contrive the future.
So they have to feel comfortable enough with the mate, right, to be able to relax, right? So they can achieve pleasure. Okay.
They need to be comfortable with them, with their choice of the mate, and with that person's holding space for their pleasure. Yes.
So do you think with some women, some mates they don't feel comfortable with, and other mates they do feel comfortable with?
Oh, absolutely. I've had mates that I cannot have. Now, Michael, I am multi orgasmic.
Yeah, I heard. I know you told me.
I'm very proud of that. And so I've had sex with men who I could not even have one orgasm with, and I'm multi orgasmic. Right. And so when that happens, I explain to the man that I'm having some trust concern, and I want to be able to tell the man what the trust concern is. You're doing something on my heart, something heavy, something I haven't expressed. Okay. And so the sex is pointless.
Okay, right. So because it's not just something that's physical, it's spiritual. Okay, so because that's what I'm saying with sex being something that's spiritual, then it's like, okay, if you are trying to engage in it with somebody that you don't feel comfortable enough with to be able to relax because all these other things are going on, then that's something that has to be overcome. If it can be overcome, there's some people that I guess maybe just it's not going to work.
Right. They don't have the tools. It's not that it wouldn't work if they had the tools. They don't have the tools to have the conversation, to say, I'm having a trust issue. Can we stop for a minute? Can we talk? I have something on my heart. Can you hold space for me? And then moving forward.
So is it also possible that it's not something wrong with the woman, it's something wrong with the man?
It's nothing wrong with anybody. It's
well, I mean, it's like the when you talk about trust issues, right? It's like, but sex is also communication.
Yes.
So if a woman is trying to have, say, for instance, a spiritual experience.
Yes.
And the man just wants to have a physical experience.
Right.
Isn't it like they're not meeting on the same plane or something like that?
Sure. That's
okay.
issue as well.
Okay.
However, the women who take my course understand how to get a man onto that spiritual level. So this is a Tantra course for women, and it explains to women how to explain to men the type of experience they're looking for and how to have the man drop into his heart and get out of his head.
Okay. All right. So once again, the name of the course is the Diva Deep Dive, Tantra Sex Education for Women. We posted the link here, and it's at the progressiveloveacademy.com. We have a special code for you, AHN 300 promo code, and you get $300 off the cost of the program. It's a 6-week course. Yep. Watch it at your leisure. Go ahead and explain that to people, Kenya.
So the 6-week course just supports women who have been ill-equipped and don't have tools to, number one, get over the trauma. Women in this country, 83% of women were molested in the United States of America. I don't know what the percentage is for men. It could be equally high. But for women, they have to deal with the trauma before they think they're going to have an orgasm.
Right.
Because what happens with sexual trauma is that they build layers of armor of their sexuality.
Right.
That have to be disarmed in order to get to that root sexuality again. That natural sex where you see a woman who's so natural and she's just so in her sexuality. That took years of undoing the traumas. So that's the first part of the course. The second part of the course, once we've done some trauma healing, is that now we're going to bring up the pleasure center, because it stopped when you were a little girl. At that trauma, it stopped developing.
Right.
Just imagine if your brain stopped developing at a certain age, or if your hands stop developing, your hands are real small. You have to retrain that organ, your sensuality, to meet the adult woman who deserves that pleasure, right? And so then that's the second part of the course. And then finally, it's how to have the orgasms. I literally demonstrated. Michael, I think you've seen the course. I've demonstrated. I've
seen some of it. Yeah. I was going to watch it with my girlfriend, but that didn't work out. So I've seen, I've gone through and seen a little bit of it, but yeah, you go through and you demonstrate how to achieve orgasm, things like that. I still have to go back and finish watching to tell you the truth. Okay.
There's a lot of content.
There's a lot of content.
It's not just one video. There are 12 to 15 videos, and some of them are exercises, some of them are lectures. So it's not that I'm just talking to you. I'm laying down with you. We're doing the work together so that you can get through those 3 phases: trauma healing, building up your pleasure center, and then knowing how to have an orgasm in any position, with a man or without, in any type of scenario.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So you have, it says, and she has this on the website also. It says 5 reasons women shut down sexually, but you actually have 6 listed. Being stuck in the mind. And I'm actually going to flip over to the website so people can see this as well. Being stuck in the mind is 1. Unable to release control. Now, you talked about molestation and sexual abuse. So I know back during when all this was going on with R. Kelly, I was doing research on this and I talked about it on my show. One study said that 60% of African-American women have been sexually molested or abused by age 18. Yes. Another study said 40%. Okay. We just split the difference and say 50%. I mean, that is catastrophic, and it negatively impacts oftentimes relationships women are in, trust issues, a number of different things that you mentioned. Okay, so we have here being stuck in the mind, unable to release control, holding shame or guilt around sex, not trusting the masculine to hold her energy. Now talk about that, not trusting the masculine to hold her energy.
Well, some women believe that they will be teased, ridiculed if they make the wrong sound, if they make the wrong movement, if their body doesn't look right. So the masculine has to really let this feminine know that you could do whatever. Like, I got you. Some women don't want to scream a certain way. They don't want to release a certain way. It requires that you release in order to have an orgasm.
Right.
You can't say I'm trying to be cute and have an orgasm. It's not cute. It's not pretty sometimes. You're going to fall out. You might be crying sometimes. Some men, if you cry during the orgasm, they say, oh my God, you're crying. They don't know how to hold space for that.
Okay, that can be strange because from what I heard, you are a crier.
Sometimes
you told me that. So it's like that can be, if a man has never been with a woman who cries when she has orgasms. I mean, he may think he's doing something wrong. So that can be something that's unusual, can be traumatic. So that's why I think communication is so important.
Yes.
When we deal with sexual relations, communication is so important as well. Okay. So not trusting the masculine to hold her energy, holding on to unhealed sexual trauma. Okay, so I think you talked about that some, but that is so huge. From my understanding, that is so huge with African American women and African American men, because African American men, some of them have been molested as children, things like this. I think it's more likely to be an African American woman, but it's so. Talk about this for a minute, holding on to unhealed sexual trauma. How does the Diva Deep Dive 6-week course, how does that help with sexual trauma?
Well, we do lacing meditation. So lacing is a concept that I received from my ancestors, and it's a meditation wherein you literally regress back to the trauma. And so you're able to regress back to that moment, wake up in the moment, and have a healing experience that I walk you through. It's sort of like a guided meditation, and you are very much within that experience again. Now, Africans don't believe in a past, present, and future. Most African traditions understand that you can be in any of those spaces at any time, that they're all one space. If they weren't all one space, you would be healed from your trauma. If the past is the past and that's over and done, then why aren't you healed? Because the past is right now. So I take you to that place that is still right now, that is still raw, that is still hurting. And then we bring some new exercises at that time to make it such that you feel a difference in that past scenario. That's called lacing meditation. And I demonstrate that in the course.
Okay. Now, how long have you been doing this type of work? Because I've known about you. First of all, Kenya has been on the Michael Baisden Show. She's been on BET. She's been on Dr. Phil's show. Her and her husband, Carl Stevens. The Monique Show. Okay, so I didn't just find out about her yesterday. Okay, so I've interviewed them on my Blog Talk Radio show years ago. But how long have you been doing this type of work, lacing and different things like this?
We've been doing this, our own business, 16 years, but I've been doing meditation and spiritual ceremony and trained from a priestess at age 21. So that's 25 years.
Okay. And you were trained in the Asar Society also, right?
Yes, sir. I was trained as a priestess in the Al-Set community for 11 years, that's where I got my foundation in knowing how to, for instance, do a regression. Do a guided meditation, utilize spiritual power to heal trauma. That's an expert organization.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So you have, so we talked about six reasons women shut down sexually. And I want to see if I can get to the homepage of the website. Let me see. I was looking at it, the Juju Mama Love Academy, I think, or the Progressive Love Academy. Which one was it? Because I was looking at the site and it showed like the different shows you all have been on.
Sure.
As well.
Yeah.
Which site is that?
You can go to progressiveloveacademy.com and click media.
Oh, okay.
Progressiveloveacademy.com and click media.
Okay. Let me see here. Courses. Okay.
Yep. And if you want, I can share my screen. I have it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you have it up, go ahead and share it.
Yes. So progressiveloveacademy.com and our new school, Psalms, they're both really excellent places for anyone to start on the journey to, I'm disabled.
Okay. Hold on just a second. We'll bring it up here.
Wholesale. Okay.
Okay. We'll bring it up here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Love Academy.
So here is the media screen. This is my husband and myself, and we've been running Progressive Love Academy for the past 16 years. This is us on the Monique Show. Many years ago.
Scroll back up. We just turned it on. Scroll back up. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
So this is our media page. If you go to progressiveloveacademy.com, you will be able to navigate here to media and see our various appearances on various shows. Monique was very impressed with the concept of Tantra. She's a strong believer in female pleasure, female orgasm. This is our appearance on Extreme Love. This is our appearance on Fox News, explaining Tantra, explaining sacred sexuality, explaining polyamory. This is the Trash It Show in the UK, Multi-Amory podcast, Elam King Show in Atlanta. So these are some of our top shows that are here you can find on the website.
And for the Diva Deep Dive, also, people be sure to use the promo code AHN300, AHN300. And that is for viewers and listeners to the African History Network show. Okay, AHN 300. Now, and the page I was looking for, I'm going to turn on the screen share here, was this one here. This is on the homepage of the website, but it shows ABC, BET, CNN, Essence, and NBC. That's the page I was looking for as well, because I know I saw you all on the Dr. Phil show. I heard you all years ago on Michael Baisden Show as well. So I know you all have done a lot of interviews in media also. Okay. All right. Now, let me flip back over to this. So this is a 6-week course. And you also talk about things like orgasm and sensuality healed me of anxiety and depression.
Yes.
Talk about that, because a lot of African-American women, a lot of women in general, but especially a lot of African-American women suffer from different types of depression. So talk about that for a minute.
My anxiety was around playing out scenarios in my head over and over and over again, what I could have said, what I should have said. And it would paralyze me for days and make me feel with rage and anger. And I wish I could redo situations. So I don't know if that qualifies as a depression of sorts, but it does qualify as anxiety. It's just like I didn't want to make another mistake. I was just scared to say something wrong, do something wrong. I was in heavy self-criticism. And so utilizing sexual energy and Tantra helped me to work that energy. That energy was building up in my kidney. Anger builds up in your kidney and your liver. And so that was really causing my body to have problems to the point of cancer. You know, I'm a cancer survivor. But I just had so much perfectionism from my house growing up, and that I had to be this. My mother was a business owner, so I had to be a certain way. I had to present. I couldn't embarrass her. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. And so it just gave me a big self-critical voice. And Tantra helped me to just ease back on that. You understand? I could not have an orgasm with a man during sex when I was in that anxiety state. And when my husband and I started working the Tantra together and really doing this practice together to where we use orgasm to conscientiously heal, that is when that anxiety started to float and melt away from me. And I got to use lacing to go back and heal those traumas and then put in some new information into my spirit.
Wow. You know, I know that, and see what's the reason why, you know, this is so important is because in the African-American community, there's a taboo when it comes to mental health. Okay. And different types of anxiety. So there's already a taboo, and then that can negatively impact relationships. It can negatively impact, you know, children in the household because of the dysfunctional relationship between the mother and father. As well. So, okay. So that's extremely important. Devotee Sex Magic course outline. So you have a course outline here, Devotee Sex Magic, conservation and sexual power. What is Devotee Sex Magic?
Devotee is that ability to nurture. So men don't enter the sex act just to have sex. We have to get that out of our head as women. Men want to be nurtured. Men want to be held and rocked and snuggled and massaged and really built up through that nurturing. And so I demonstrate to the women how to give that kind of nurturing so that the act is never just about intercourse, ever. I tell the women, if a man starts with your breast or your vagina, this is what you do. Guide him away from that. You don't need a man just grabbing your ass, grabbing your, you got to teach him through a, why are you laughing, Michael?
because a lot of people are corrupted by pornography as well as negative corporate controlled hip hop.
Yeah.
And when I listen to negative corporate controlled hip hop, I hear a type of sex that is an aggression. There's an aggressive type of sex that is void oftentimes of relationship, void of sensuality. It's just about sex and knocking it out and banging it and etc. And it's like just an exchange as opposed to a union or something. There's nothing spiritual.
Right. And banging it and knocking it out. I be trying to tell these hip hop guys, if a baby if a baby can bang through my vagina, the penis is not banging nothing and knocking nothing out. I'm talking about a 15-pound baby. Now, what are y'all talking about? Banging something and knocking some blow somebody back out, please. So what we have to do is move away from that nonsense. Now, there are times when a woman does. There's 5 different kind of sex. And so I teach those 5 different kind of sex. There is a primal root-based sex where the woman does want you to grab her and do this and do that. And, but that is, to me, it's the woman who's choosing which kind of sex she wants. If she's not aroused by you just grabbing on her like that, she has to know how to guide you to another format. She has to know how to nurture you until you're able to deliver in that format. That's up to us. It's not a man's job to bring me to orgasm. It's not. And I've said this for many years. It's my job to know how to guide a man into that experience with me, where we're both going to achieve climax.
Okay, so it's a woman's job to guide a man to help her climax?
No, it's just I'm guiding him into the kind of experience I want. Yep. If he's grabbing on me and doing all type of crazy stuff, baby, slow down, touch right here. That's communication.
But you want to ideally you want the woman to orgasm during sex.
Well, every man,
with the man, right?
Yeah, every man wants that. Yes, every man wants that. But I'm saying it's up to the woman to know how to do that.
Right,
That's she has to have.
So the woman will guide the man though.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, to show what she likes and things like that. Now, this is the other misconception, right? Men are not just born knowing what women like.
No.
Okay, so this is because women don't come with no manual. Okay, so you got to figure this out because see, there's this misconception that men just automatically know what women like. Now, men should study the female body.
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of men are clueless when it comes to the female body, etc. And once again, see, pornography has just screwed all this stuff up. And about 50% or 51% of internet traffic is to like different adult pornographic websites. So it causes all types of unrealistic misconceptions. Okay, about sex. But what advice or tools do you, I know this is focused on women, but usually women gonna have sex with men, so any education for men will help the experience be better. Are there any tools or anything that you can recommend for men to learn more about women's bodies?
Yes.
and physical anatomy, things like this?
Sure. Yeah. 2 things. The first thing, and I taught my sons this, my sons are grown in college. But two things. Number one, you have to understand that sex is like Aikido or karate. You're not born knowing how to do it. You need to learn. You need to practice. You need to take educational experiences that support you in learning tools and skills. That's because a lot of men like, I don't need that. Oh, I'm like this in the bedroom. I'm like that in the bedroom. Like, no, you're not. Like, you don't even know. You understand? You didn't take any type of training. Just take.
You don't just automatically at 18 know everything about women, or 16 or something like that. 21, no.
Take something. We have a lot of classes at the academy, but take a class. That's number one. Number two, and they shouldn't feel shame about that. Some men feel shame, like I don't need a class. I know how to do it because I don't want to be ashamed sitting in the class. No, every man needs a class. Okay. Number two, understand and understand that sex, the subject of sex is women. So the more that you can intuitively tune into where she's going and be like a playground of her pleasure, the more pleasure you're going to get. So, I had to let my sons know your orgasm is nice, but your orgasm is guaranteed, really. So now you want to tune, you're going to have yours. Tune into hers for the whole time.
Hopefully it depends, because it's like, for some men, they have to be mentally there. For some men, they have to be mentally. Now, some men just hit anything, but other men, they have to be mentally there. As well, so it's more likely that a man is going to orgasm. It's now, more likely.
We're saying the wrong term. It's likely that a man will ejaculate. Very few men orgasm. So talk about the difference. Then we're going to talk about female ejaculation, because that's part of the devotee sex magic as well. So very few, you said very few men orgasm. That's right.
Men are more likely to ejaculate. Explain the difference. Because when I took sex education in, was it 9th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, whatever it was, Cass Technical High School, whatever it was. They ain't make a distinction. Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, a man can have an orgasm just like a woman does without ejaculating and have a more bodily sensation, a full body orgasm where he's not ejaculating. But very few men in the United States have that because they're not taught to that's their feminine side. So men and women, I have a masculine side, I have a feminine side. That's called right and left brain, right? And so you have a right and left brain too. That's nothing about being gay. That's about you have a feminine and a masculine side. So your feminine side would have an orgasm. Your masculine side would have an ejaculation. Okay, so I have both ejaculation and orgasm. I train my men to have both ejaculation and orgasm. Most men, when they have their first orgasm, they're out of it. They're like, oh my God, this is what y'all feel? But it takes really ability to drop into your heart. That's not going to come from that tension sex and just trying to get your ejaculation. It's never going to come that way.
So when you say drop into your heart, is that heart chakra?
Yes.
Okay. So just explain this concept again, because I know there's a lot of men, they haven't heard this before, because like this is not conversation that you hear normally. Okay. The difference between a man having an orgasm and a man ejaculating. Okay, so explain that difference again.
The ejaculation comes from the masculinity, the pumping, the tension, the movement itself, the physicality. The orgasm is emotional. The orgasm is much more emotional, like it's from your feminine side. And so if you're not in touch with your feminine side, if you constantly batten your feminine side down and say, shut up, sit down, don't have no emotion, none of that, then you're never going to have an orgasm. You got to fall into your heart. You have to learn to express your heart. You have to learn to express emotion in order to have an orgasm. So, and it's perfectly possible. And you're still masculine when you do it. So I love my men who have orgasm. It's fabulous.
So you talk about, and I know when I spoke to you before, you talk, one of the things you teach in the course, the Diva Deep Dive, 6-week course, opening to female ejaculation. Now, I think this is very important. The reason why is because oftentimes when we talk about female ejaculation, that may be historically, that was something. Well, first of all, historically, orgasms for women were something. I mean, during the Salem witch trials, you know, a woman could be killed for having an orgasm, because that was one of the things that they said was made a woman a witch. Okay, you could be killed for having an orgasm, women, but female orgasm, that was something that was kind of looked at as taboo. So explain all this to us. Opening to female ejaculation.
Yes. So that was a very dark time, and it all parallels with the 400 years of slavery. You have to look at the mentality that would say a woman shouldn't orgasm. That's utterly ridiculous.
Right. That's repressive.
That's repressive. Just like any slave, concept, or a mind that would think of brutalizing humans that way is a mind that would think of brutalizing women to say she shouldn't be orgasmic. It's ridiculous.
Right. That's like some Handmaid's Tale stuff.
Right. Women are the most orgasmic creatures on this planet besides dolphins, right? So the thing about it is that when we are able to really fall into the heart and open those feminine orgasms with a man, it's so easy to then get into masculinity and have an ejaculation. So, and then when we ejaculate, it's more than once. I mean, I can have 15 ejaculations during sex and does not stop me from having more ejaculations. So it's so limitless. It's so vast. And I do train the women in Diva Deep Dive on how to have the ejaculation. And hundreds of women have opened their female ejaculation that way.
Okay. and the female ejaculation, you said before, is a more intense orgasm than the clitoral orgasm.
I actually think orgasm is more intense than ejaculation.
Okay.
So orgasm is more intense for me. Ejaculation is like the building up to an orgasm. Okay. So that is really nice. It's a release. It just takes you down 1,000. It brings you to that homeostasis. And then there are lots of myths about the liquid itself and how it's a healing elixir, how it's an elixir of life. I mean, I'm 50-ish. So, here we are.
Well, I'm 50. I just turned 50 June 7th. So
okay.
All right. You look good. You look good for 50-ish also.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So opening to chakra orgasm. This is part of the course outline. You have devotee, sex magic, conservation and sexual power, lover pleasure healing. Part of lover pleasure healing is opening to chakra orgasm. Okay. In sexual health, when you talk about chakra orgasm, when you talk about the difference between a man having an orgasm and ejaculation, we didn't get any of this stuff here. I took that thing 11th grade. We didn't get any of that. Okay. So explain the difference. What is opening to chakra orgasm?
So chakra orgasms, my ancestors told me, this is just a personal story, that there is a lingam or yoni in each of your 7 chakras. So you can literally have sex with somebody with your heart or with your third eye, with your crown, with your sacra, with your solar plexus. And so chakra orgasm is a system that I've developed to help you do that. So I start having sex in that way. You can have sex with somebody on a bus with chakra orgasm, with chakra, technology. So that's a way to really affect your partner's energy prior to intercourse.
Explain to people what are the. Say it again. What you say?
I was going to say, so that we don't need CVS. They're selling us all these ointments and moisturizers and lube, and women are supposed to naturally become lubricated, but they are not having the experiences that lead to that, and that's what chakra orgasm is.
So explain what are the chakras. These are energy centers of the body, but explain the whole concept of chakras. Sure. Once again, in sex education in 11th grade, they didn't talk about sex and chakras.
No. But I don't know why they should. I mean, we've got to do this ourselves, put this in the school. But a chakra is an energy center in the body that is responsible for various emotional responses we have. That's what the West is not good at, emotion. Okay, so the third eye, the emotion that you can feel and intuit the future. You can intuit something, you can have a dream. That's all centered in the third eye. Then the crown, the feeling that I am one with all things. The throat, the feeling that I can communicate and express myself in any way. The heart, the feeling of connection with another person. So each of the chakras talks about a feeling. And they are available in Eastern culture, African culture, Native American culture. Some say we have 14, some say we have 7, some say we have 9. You just have to study about the chakras.
Okay. Now, one of the things also you talk about, become pregnant with your dreams using sex. So before, when we've had these conversations, you talk about sex to manifest something. Okay. Not just physical. Explain that concept.
Oh, I love that concept. I always just allow my emotions to flow. I know you know that, Michael. But
Right.
I mean, whenever I'm having sex with a man, he can expect that I'm birthing something on his behalf. So I ask my partners, what is it they want to birth? What do they want? A new car? Do they want to win the lottery? Do they want a new stocks? They want something. And then if they are willing to talk to me about it and believe in my abilities, I can actually get pregnant with that objective and birth it into technicolor reality. And that is something I teach in the class as well. Once you've done your healing and once you've gotten your orgasm in check, now you can become a magician for your partner and with your partner.
Okay, so that deals with that deals with like sex magic.
Yes, sex magic.
Okay.
Which is I have a lot of the people who are sort of new to this and studying of European origin, and they say, "Have you heard of sex magic?" I say, "That's all my ancestors did with sex magic. That's all they did with sex, is manifest and utilize it for its true purpose." So yes, I've heard of it.
Okay. All right. So there's so much that you deal with in this 6-week course. The Diva Deep Dive, Tantric Sex Education for Women. We've talked about Tantra or Tantric sex before. Just explain briefly to people, what is Tantra? What is Tantric sex?
Tantra is the art of making sexuality into a spiritual practice. It is the art of bringing the concept of sex up to the realm of spirituality. It's the combination of spirit and sexuality.
Okay, because once again, in 11th grade in physical education, they didn't talk about Tantra. Okay, now this was like 1988, something like that. They ain't talk about Tantra. They ain't talking about none of this stuff here. Okay, so and there's a lot of men and a lot of women who we were miseducated in sex education class, right?
Yes. But they still don't talk about it. They still don't talk about it. My kids were in school this year. They didn't talk about it. So I had to teach my children. And so that is something that's going to be up to us parents to really rearrange this in our culture.
Wow. So how can people register for this course right now? They can, as soon as they register, they can start watching the content. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. As soon as they register, they're inside of the library. The library contains 13 to 15 modules, and you just start at the top and go ahead and get going on it. You may want to fast forward to some of the demonstrations, but I would advise listening to the lecture, then doing the demonstrations. Okay,
so you advise listening to the lecture, then doing the demonstrations. So this is something that couples can participate in together?
Yes. I really highly suggest that men do it, because men need to understand this, and they need to do this work themselves of healing their own trauma, healing whatever they have that's against connection, against sensuality, against intimacy. That can happen for men if they do this with their partner.
Okay, so at progressiveloveacademy.com, when they go to the Diva Deep Dive, then they can use the coupon code AHN300. They can do that. Okay.
They can do that right now. I'm putting it in the chat. It's a bit.ly link, Diva Deep, and there it is. So if you want to share that link, they go to the link, and it's called the Diva Deep Dive. They can even Google Diva Deep Dive, and you'll see my course come up. And yes, use the African History Network discount and get started on your orgasm. Every woman who's taken this orgasm have moved from here to here. So the leap that you want to make is up to you. You can make the leap all the way to fully orgasmic, like I am, because that's what I teach in the course.
Okay. You too can be fully orgasmic. Okay.
You too. You can be orgasmic, and you can be orgasmic. I think all women need to be orgasmic. The whole planet would be so much happier. Our children would be so much happier. Our men would be so much happier. Men love to please women. So when I became pleasable, because I wasn't always pleasable. So I teach that in the course. You got to be pleasable. And a lot of it is really just a tool that you need. It's not nothing bad about you. Nothing wrong with you. It's just you don't have the tool.
So let me tread into a landmine area here, and like I haven't already during this conversation, but so we hear this myth of the angry black woman. We hear this myth of the angry black woman. Okay. Not that I believe black women are angry, but it's a myth. Okay. So do you think that part of what contributes to maybe not anger, but frustration and different things like this is lack of being able to have an orgasm with a partner, within a relationship, etc. Because you talked about how orgasm can heal a nation.
Yes.
Orgasms can heal a nation. Connect the two of those, please.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, our anger, just think of the past 400 years, the rape, the violation, the inability to connect with our partners in the way that we want to do, in our self-determined way, in our indigenous ways. We could not do that for 400 years. Fuck yeah, we're going to be angry. Sorry to cuss. We're going to be angry as hell because in order to feel a connection to spirit, and spirit is what brings you peace, then you have to be a self-determined, in control of your own body, in control of your own sexuality, in control of your own image, in control of your own life. So for a long time, that was not the case. And now it's like, oh, well, you guys are free now. Go ahead. And what? We forgot. They forgot about chakra orgasm. They forgot about sex magic. They forgot they didn't get to pass that down. So even when we got free again, it wasn't a freedom that allowed for this. But now we have a freedom that allows for the real healing to take place. And it has everything to do with one's sensuality and more. But this is a root. This is sensuality is your root chakra. This is the root, the base, the bottom of who you are. So fill it back in with the right information.
Exactly. And also, I know that you all train. It's not therapists, but love coaches.
Yes.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure. We've trained 300 love coaches worldwide. We train Tantra coaches. That is people who go and teach Tantra. So I support men. I support men in supporting women. So I've trained lots of men to go and help women open up their orgasm. I know there's some powerful men I train. And then I train women to support men. I train all types of coaches, communication coaches, sex coaches, all types of relationships coaches.
Okay. And that is so with COVID-19 and the stay-at-home orders that we saw in 2020, I heard stories of increases in divorces because people were stuck at home with the mate and realized that they didn't like them as much as they thought they did. Right. But did you see an increase in people trying to either become love coaches or trying to get love coaching because of COVID-19?
Yes, a lot of people were just waiting for it to end so they could divorce. But yes, I saw an increase on people wanting to become a coach and wanting to get coaching. So I thought that was great. That was great for my business, but it was great for humanity to see and to slow down and to see what's really going on in our relationships. I loved that period of time.
Wow. Okay, well, look, everybody, it's the Diva Deep Dive Tantric Sex Education for women. It's at the Progressive Love Academy. We have the link here, bit.ly/Diva Deep, but also at progressiveloveacademy.com. Be sure to use the discount promo code AHN300. You get $300 off. And once they purchase the course, it's theirs like forever, right?
It's yours forever. You can show it to your partner. If you don't stay with him, show it to your next partner. You don't have to show it to your daughter. You know, my daughter was there when I filmed the course.
Okay.
I really want her to be sexually aware and responsible and proud of her sensuality.
Okay. Well, it's a great, I think it makes a great gift as well for privacy. So, because a man may want to buy this for his wife or girlfriend as well, right?
Yes. If you want to see a difference, if you want an orgasmic woman, let me send them to me.
So this would be the gift that keeps on giving. Is that what you're saying? This would be the gift that
you're gonna thank me. You're gonna send me some more. You're gonna send me a gift, because I'm telling you, you want an orgasmic woman. That's a powerful woman. An orgasmic woman is the most powerful woman on the planet.
Wow. Okay. All right. I agree with that. So when we talk about devotee sex magic, and then we have something called black girl magic, right? Because black women are just magic to me in general, right? So I think all this is connected, and that's connected to Wakanda, because the word Wakanda is we see it in Native American languages, the Omaha Ponca and Sioux Indian language, and Wakanda means possesses secret powers, which is like black girl magic. Wakanda is a real word. And it's a Key Congo word also. It's in Bantu languages as well, Wakanda. So it's a real word. Well, look, Kenya, it's always great talking to you. You're going to hear more from Kenya as well in subsequent days. So look, Kenya K. Stevens, of the CEO of the Progressive Love Academy. Thanks for joining us here on the African History Network show. Take care.
Thank you, Michael. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right, everybody. That's Kenya K. Stevens. And also be sure to watch the African History Network show Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, we ain't going to talk about this right here, right? This is a special broadcast. I'm on the radio, 9:10 a.m. Superstation, 6 days a week. So we don't have those conversations. So I told my listeners we're gonna have a special conversation with Kenya, but we can't do it on the radio. That's FCC regulated radio. We can't do that. But follow us here on the African History Network Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael M. Hotep, IMHOTEP. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. And also, if you want to support the African History Network as well, you can $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, if you want to support the African History Network also. But this is a much needed conversation. And, as I said before, when I took sexual health or physical, I forgot what it was called, physical education or sex education, whatever it was. A lot of these things, now this is 33 years ago, something like that. But a lot of these things we didn't talk about. Okay. And even today in sex education classes and things like this, a lot of these things we don't talk about, and we're taught to see sexuality through the prism of Western European culture. And this causes a lot of problems in relationships. So this is one of the reasons why this type of conversation is so important. Remember, right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. Is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.